So Mr. Dhundi Kumar Jannapala, he is doing wonderful research in the area of flexible antenna and wearable antennas. So I'm very happy that he has agreed to deliver a session in our this particular FDP. So Mr. Dhundi Kumar Jannapala received his bachelor's and master's of technology degrees from LBRCE JNTU in 2011 and 2014 respectively. From April 18 to March 20, he was a JRF and DRDO funded project. Currently, he is working as senior research fellow in DRD funded project and is pursuing his PhD in ECE at Krunua Institute of Technology and Sciences, Coimbatore. His research interest includes flexible antenna development, wearable technology, biomedical antennas, sensors, metamaterials, solar cell, medical antennas, and related fields. He has published many SCI research papers on various variable antenna topics, reconfigurable antennas, capsule antennas, and ultra wideband filters. He has also filed 2 patents and pursuing 4 more in patents in the pipeline. He has published many conference papers in the proceedings and has also published 1 book chapter. He is regularly delivering sessions as source person in various institutes all over India in the events which are sponsored by AICT and other such government funding agencies. He has also reviewed papers for various reputed journals including IET, Optical and Quantum Electronics, Circuit World, Wireless Personal Communication, etc. So with this brief introduction, I invite Dhundi Kumarji to take over the session and start today's discussion. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. Shall I share my presentation?
Yes, please.
Sir, you are able to see my screen?
Yes, it's visible.
Perfectly visible.
Thank you very much. So, good morning, everybody. My name is Dhundi Kumar Jannapala. So, today I am going to deliver a session on flexible antenna design for biotelemetry applications like biomedical applications. So, my particular lab have these equipments with me. Where we can fabricate antennas, especially we can make polymers, different kind of polymers that can be used for making flexible antennas. So we have a complete polymer making setup, and we are trying to get some more equipment also so that we can put conducting particles, and we are trying to make some conductive particles embedded polymers also recently. So these are my main research topics. I am mostly working on flexible antennas for wearables. Recently, we started working with sensors also, and medical antennas like endoscopy implantable antennas. We started working, and we are having some very good progress in that. Polymers, I am mainly working with polydimethyl siloxane, and also I am trying to work with some conducting materials as well as embedded conducting particles into polymer to make the stretchable electrodes also. These are my primary research interests. So these are the different kinds of works that we are doing in our lab. You can see the wearable antennas are small scale miniaturized antenna for implant or endoscopy application. And you can see some polymers. Actually, these polymers varies from some PDMS2, and we are also working on natural based resins and trying to make copolymers also. So these polymers dielectric constant we are able to vary in between some 2.7 to almost high dielectric constant 10 also. So based on the impurities that you are adding, that dielectric constant changes. So we are making some sponge porous niche polymers also for trying for self energy harvesting polymers. So because we want to power our device by making a hybrid device. So that is another thing that we are trying to work in our lab. So today simply I will concentrate on 3 things. First, I will tell you what is like wearable antenna, what it consists of, and how you design a simple wearable antenna or flexible. Mainly, I am stressing the term flexible. How you can make the design, so and how the applications, so diagnosis and monitoring, And treatment I'm not touching. Diagnosis and monitoring I will stress. So just like I'm going to tell you what is wearable antenna, and how you can design it, and then how you go particularly on application oriented design and analysis, what kind of what kind of results and analysis you can take, and how you can go present them for publication or patenting. So before we go into the actual topic, let us just briefly see what is W-band. Okay, see this body area network, wireless body area network. So this is a simple step. So where you have an antenna on top of your body, or it could be inside your body also. So that will communicate to your GPS system or nearby home computer system. With that, it will go to any medical database for monitoring and delivering proper treatment. So this is what W-band system in medical applications that we are trying for. We are not fully going for industrial or other application. We are strictly going for medical applications in today's session. So simply the antenna is either inside body or outside the body, and it's communicating with the nearest device, which is passing the information, and then the information will be stored in a cloud, and it will be monitored in a regular basis. If any abnormalities in your monitor data is detected, then it will be alerting so appropriate people so that you can be receiving the proper treatment. So this is W-band simply for medical applications. So this is all. Okay, different kinds of vitals can be monitored in case of medical applications. So it could be your pulse, it could be your oxygen level, it could be your blood pressure, or it could you can have even neurostimulants, and it can monitor EEG signals, everything. So whatever it is monitoring in your human body, it will be delivered to our nearest system, so that the nearest system can access this data and process it further for diagnosis or giving a proper treatment. So this process is called biotelemetry, monitoring vitals, either it could be human or animals, and transmitting that resulting data is simply called as biotelemetry. So how exactly you can make antennas for that, and how exactly the information is passing, and how we can check whether the information received is having enough signal strength or not. So this is the things that are our primary discussion today. So now this communication W-band, the both antennas can be any place. Suppose an inside body antenna, one antenna is inside your body, either it could be implantable antenna or endoscopy, and it is trying to communicate with an antenna on top of your body or outside on off body, like outside it. So on body to on body communication can be happen like emergency response, and on body to outside node it can be happen. One node to another central node also it can happen. So all this together, the way of communication between these antennas together, we simply take it as a W-band, body area networks, wireless body area. It is equivalent to what we usually say as a wireless sensor network. So since the involvement of human body, we are just calling it as a wireless body area network. Now, the main thing any researcher who is struggling to work with flexible antennas is, so in software they have a doubts how you actually make a design, flexible design, how you actually work with a human phantom. So how you have a design and you have a particular material, flexible material, but that materials may not be available in the libraries provided by our EM simulation tools. So how you give that properties? And then so normal antenna design majority of the people are aware, but when it comes to SAR settings, some of the people are still having doubts how they can actually get the SAR, give the SAR setting in the software and get the SAR analysis properly. And the most important thing is how to bend perfectly. So majority of the designs, when bending, the people who are working in the bending who approach me also, they are failing in one aspect. So when they are designing antenna, the simulated antenna and the measured antenna, the results are not in good agreement. There is a lot of deviation. The main problem they are facing, this is the one. So there is a difference between simulated data and measured data. That is because they are unable to make a proper bending. So how to do proper bending is the main concept one should learn when they want to work with flexible antennas. So that I'm going to stress first, and I will show you the required formulas to make a perfect bend, and then we can go further. So before we go to the software, first I will directly take you to the software and I will show you how to do it. After showing how to do it, how we can get the different analysis, I will show you. So first thing is, you have to make a perfect bend, as I said. See, this particular two slides, if you are fully thoroughly learning these two particular slides, you can work on any kind of flexible antenna, any kind of conformal antennas. Not only medical applications, any kind of applications you can make. So this is the thing that you need to make a perfect bend. Now, majority of the sessions, what happens is, this is your length of the antenna. So in this side width is there. So forget about the width. As of now, you just look at the length. And this is the thickness of your substrate. Now, when I try to bend it, majority of the flexible antennas, you will try to show a comparative analysis where you want to show how your antenna's S11 curve is compared when the antenna is bended 30 mm radius surface and it is bended onto 40 mm, 50 mm. So for each of these bendings, you want to take a comparative analysis of S11 and you want to show that it is maintaining the same operating frequency. So that your bending radius may change based on your applications. So whatever may be the bending radius, your design has to adjust itself based on the radius, input radius you are giving. So in that aspect, we are devising this one. Now, normally when you bend your antenna and try to cut that particular parts, you will have some extra portions remaining. So if you take this point of line and try to cut from the bending radius, then you will be leaving some extra portion here. So if you cut straightly from this center of radius, you will be cutting an extra, extra portion will be there. So that means whatever the substrate length here is less than the substrate length here. So length on top side will be little bit bigger. Okay, let's try from top. So if I am cutting directly with the straight line here, I am just cutting a little bit extra. That means the actual length is little bit less. So that means I have to make sure that this point and these points are made sure calculated properly, so that when I bend the particular substrate, the length on top and the length on bottom are exactly same. So and the height in all aspects is same. That is what our particular concentration when we are making a perfect bending. So if you are able to do it with the help of variables, then you can make n number of designs in flexible models. Now let's see a simple calculation here. So suppose this is your center. I have taken a radius. This is a radius. Actually, I have taken diameter as r, so that here radius is nothing but r by 2. Radius is nothing but r by 2. Now here, as I said, my edge points are matters, so that I can have a length on top and length on bottom same. Now here, so this is the particular bottom point and top point. Now this is total L, this is total L. Now exactly from center point, so right side L by 2, left side L by 2. Top also left side L by 2, right side L by 2, that will be there. Now from this point, I have drawn a line. Now this one is R by 2 and this particular line I am drawing perpendicular. So this line from center line I am drawing a perpendicular line. Now here for this one, so this is X dash, this is Y dash. So this particular point I need a coordinate X comma Y. X comma Y. So this will be X, this will be Y. So I will be knowing this point. Similarly from top I will be drawing one more line, but this line length will be R by 2 plus thickness. So plus thickness, that is H. So plus thickness H I have to add. So for this one, the coordinate will be X double dash and Y double dash. So how exactly you can get these points? So simply, so for inside one angle is theta dash, for outside coordinate angle is theta double dash. So theta dash is nothing but L by 2 by R by 2. R by 2 is nothing but radius. Since I took the diameter as R radius is R by 2 into 180 by pi. If you know the theta, simply you have to apply sin theta, cos theta. So y dash will be R by 2 into sin theta 1, x dash equal to R by 2 into cos theta 1. Similarly for theta double dash, so instead of R by 2, you will be having R by 2 plus thickness of your substrate. These simple formulas, if you can make x dash, y dash, you are knowing this coordinate, you are knowing this coordinate, so that you can exactly rip off this extra part. So that extra part you are cutting, right? That particular extra part, you can again, after making the straight line subtraction, you can take out that extra part also, so that you will be having exact L/2 on top and L/2 on bottom also, on both left side and right side. So that extra part calculation, so this is the calculations. This is the calculation. So this extra part we are trying to deduct in our design, so that we will be having a exact model. Let's see, let's switch to software. So when we are trying to make our bended model, I will show you how I actually started making a normal bend. Then how I have given these variables inside and made the cutting more easily. Now let me show you first. So now I am going to make a cylinder here. So in this plane, that will be YZ plane. So YZ plane I am selecting. Now I want to make a cylinder here. So take this cylinder from drawing cylinder. So you make a cylinder. Click once, drag once, and again drag one more time and click. So you will get a cylinder. Now, majority of my models, I will try to make the cylinder. So suppose if my width of my particular antenna substrate is suppose 10 mm. So I will make sure that 5 mm is that side and 5 mm is this side. So I always go in that way. So suppose I will simply make minus 50 comma 0 comma 0. Radius I will take some 50 mm. Height I will take some 100 mm. So width of my control D, width of my antenna is 100 mm. So bending radius is 50 mm. This is the cylinder I have made. Now I am coming to XY plane again. So this is the cylinder we have made. Now substrate thickness of my particular flexible substrate, I am taking you take polydimethyl siloxane or some other flexible material, cloth, jeans cloth, or any flexible material that you want to work with. So particularly suppose I am taking a 1 mm or 2 mm thickness. Let's select that particular cylinder, Control C, Control V. Here, so just add 2 to your radius. You are getting one more cylinder on top of it. Select the bigger one and then the smaller one, and you go to, so you have all the options here. If you are using any lesser version of it, we are currently using 19th version in our laboratory. So if you are having any lesser version, you just right click, edit, boolean, subtract. Otherwise you will be having directly here itself. So subtract, press OK. Now you have a bended cylinder. Now, so if I want to cut here, so let's give a little bit more width here. So if I want to cut here using a box, now again I have to draw a box. Diametric. So I'm taking a box. I just clicked on it like this. Now this box. So my X direction is 100 mm. So minus 50 comma exactly at Y minus 50 I have to join, because minus 52 plus 50 total 100 diameter we have taken. So minus 52 plus 50. So X size will be here 100. So that's what I'm trying to say. Here Y it will start at center. So bending radius is 50 and the thickness of substrate is 56. So you have to give minus 56 comma Z0. So here as I said, this one is 100. 56 into 2 you have to do 112, and the Z size I'm going bottom side minus 56. Yes. Okay. So exactly you can see the bottom part of that particular part is selected. So cylinder. So if I try to deduct from cylinder, I have to deduct the box, subtract, press OK. Now front. So if you see, definitely the inner length is less than the outer length. Inner length is less than the outer length. So in this aspect, I have developed one of my designs. I made one design. From that, I have taken double layer, triple layer, 4 layers also. Because when it comes to phantom models, we will be taking 4 layers like skin, fat, muscle, bone. So I have completed from single designs to 4 designs. So I will show you from single design front. Now this is my design. Let's go to our properties, design properties. Sorry. See, these are the things that you will be requiring. See, my radius is RA 40. So directly RA is nothing but R by 2 in our equation. Sx is nothing but width of my substrate 100. Sy, that is nothing but length of my substrate 50, and h equal to 5, that means substrate thickness. Here theta 1, theta 2. See, just now previous slides I have shown theta 1 equal to nothing but length by 2 by radius into 180 by pi. Theta 2 is nothing but length by 2 plus radius plus thickness of substrate into 180 by pi. Same equation. There x1 y1, here the orientation I took in yz direction. So z1 is RA into cos theta 1, y1 equal to RA into sin theta 1. Same equations what I have mentioned in the PPT only I have given here. So these are the same equations, we just gave them as a variables here. So how you give them I will show you in this design, then I will come to this one. So here instead of this all of this you can give like this. So this will be my Sx. Instead of 50 I will give Sx by 2. That means substrate width, it is length, and I am giving 100 mm. So 100 mm press OK. Now here radius is 56 because it is outside one. So original radius we gave is inner radius is 50 m, and height of that one we have given is 6 mm. So here it will be nothing but R plus H. R plus H. So press down arrow. Sorry, I will add here and give. So 2 variables it's not declared. So you can give here HFSS design properties, add, take the radius RR, suppose length units is length mm, and give radius as 50 mm. Press OK. Similarly add height H, I mean thickness of the substrate, again length, and give 6. Press OK. After giving the variables, you have to give in HFSS design properties, add and give the variables, select the quantity, length. If it is angle, select red. So here, instead of 50, you can press RR plus H. So automatically 56 will come there. So this is it. Now this is minus Sx by 2. Here it is nothing but Sx. So this is how the variables you can give. Now similarly you can give here also for inside cylinder. Here also you can give minus Sx by 2. This will be Sx. This will be RR radius plus OK. In a similar way we can give here also box so box here also Sx by 2. This one is RR plus H, sorry, RR minus H. Here nothing but Sx. Here 2 into RR plus H. So double, so total radius you are taking it double. So here again minus RR minus H. So this is how you have to give all the variables. So mostly when you are deducting, you have to give material again. So you have to take the values like this in the variables, everything. So in a similar way, I have given here also Now let me deduct everything. See, these are the extra box that I was telling in the second slides that we are deducting. Now, see, these are all the individual cuttings we have made. So, first I have taken only cylinder. Next, I have taken the second cylinder. So, from first cylinder, I have deducted the second cylinder. So, then I got only the cylinder part, only the cylinder part. So from there I have deducted the box, only this one. So again, then I got only this particular part. Okay, this particular part. So from center, I have taken the direct lines, as I said. So there will be extra point left behind. So, but even then we have taken the direct lines and try to calculate both sides. If you calculate this side, automatically this side equations will come. So if you want to know, so these are the coordinates that we have given here. So take this one. See, so y double dash and z double dash. Those are the coordinates calculated for here. So each of those values we have given. So if you are taking one place, automatically left side, if you are giving if this is minus y, this is plus y. Automatically, if you are adding negative side, it will come to other side. So you have to calculate one side, automatically give the negative y only, you change copy paste and you give the y side negative, automatically this side design will come. So that was the design that we have followed. Similarly for here also same thing. So bottom coordinate is y1, z1. So outer coordinate is nothing but our outer coordinate is y double dash z double dash. The same coordinates are given here. Under this extra, first based on the straight line we have deducted. Now then I have deducted the extra part. This is the design that we have made using completely with variables. Now if somebody wants to work with 50 mm by 50 mm size antenna, then simply he can go to SX, give 50, SY is 50 already. Radius of bending also, if somebody wants to give 50, enter 50, press OK. Automatically it will adjust. Somebody wants to give thickness only 1 mm only. H, 5 mm is there, thickness 1 mm I am giving. See, thickness is changed to 1 mm. Somebody wants to work with implantable antenna or endoscopy antenna and they need a conformal small scale antenna. So in that case, they want only 5, suppose some 7 mm antenna, 7 mm by 7 mm, and thickness is only 0.2 they are giving, suppose. Press OK. So it is almost invisible. You press Ctrl D. See, this is the smallest size. So this is just 7 mm by 7 mm, just like a peanut size. So any value you give for radius or overall bending radius or substrate thickness, or you want to vary the overall size, everything you can change and you can get your bended design. Similarly, what I did for the double layer, triple layer is, so now for the first antenna, the height is h. If I am putting one more substrate on top of it, then the radius of second layer will be RA plus h. Suppose I have only one layer here. Now somebody wants to make a second layer. So on top of it, they want a second layer. In such case, simply they can take, so first one radius is RA, on top of it again substrate is there. So total is RA plus H. So somebody wants to put another layer on top of it. The radius, starting radius of that second layer will be RA plus H. So top radius of that second layer will be whatever thickness. Suppose H is thickness for first layer. Let's give HT for the second one. Then that particular one value will be RA plus H plus H2, HT. So second layer. So that means you are just giving RA plus H will be radius of second layer. So again give the thickness for second layer and you add it for the theta 2 equations. Same equations, you repeat it, but give variable name differently, then automatically second layer will come. So you change the variable name. Hello? Okay, automatically the second layer will come. Then you go for third layer. Just give the variable names differently, and you keep on go for 3 layers, 4 layers, any number of layers you wish. And this is the perfect bending that we have to make if you want to work and make our simulated data and measure data are in particular sync. This is what we exactly need. So just before we go further, let's see how, so I have my substrate. Suppose, as I said, there will be some materials that are already inside our simulation tool. But if I'm particularly synthesizing my own material, suppose I'm trying to mix polymer with graphene oxide impurities. Sometimes I will mix with the TiO2. Some people will mix with the Fe3O4 they will mix. So barium titanium oxide I may mix. So different kind of metal oxides I can mix, so that I can change the dielectric constant of my antenna from lower dielectric constant to higher dielectric constant around 10. So based on the impurity weight ratio that I add, my dielectric constant can be varied or synthesized to from lower dielectric constant to higher dielectric constant. So when I'm making a substrate, I have to check the dielectric constant of my material. So there are different kinds of dielectric constant measurement techniques are there, and equipments are there. So one of the most commonly used one is, before we make this polymer sheet, they are usually in semi-liquid form. So in the semi-liquid form, you can use the decay probe kit, and you can get the dielectric constant of your polymer over the frequency range from 10 Hz to 18 GHz or 60 GHz based on the dielectric probe kit you are having. So that means suppose somebody wants to work with medical antenna at 2.45 or 430 MHz, then he has already measured his polymer dielectric constant over the frequency. At 430 MHz, he knows the dielectric constant of his material. Then how you enter that particular dielectric constant or values or decay property values in the software? Simply, this is my substrate. Click on this substrate. You will get a window here. Here, defaultly in HFSS, everything is filled with vacuum. You have to click on that and go for edit. Here, view edit materials, add materials. Go for add materials. Suppose I am trying to add PDMS, polydimethyl siloxide. So here, relative permittivity, it's around 2.6 to 2.7 in the frequency range from 2.4 to 2.5. So I am adding 2.7. Bulk conductivity, we don't enter. In case of tissues, it's you should enter. But human tissues or any other tissues. But for substrate, it doesn't matter. Dielectric loss tangent 0.0314. So after adding the decay property values, you have to go for validate material. Press OK. Press OK. OK. Now instead of vacuum, this particular PDMS material has been given. Now in the same scenario, you may want to take SAR analysis. So if you want to work with human phantom models, directly human phantom models are already given for the licensed versions for us, like female bodies or male bodies. You have most of them, from torso to right hand, left hand, head, everything you have. Directly you can place the component here and you can check. But it will require sufficient, it will be requiring sufficient amount of memory, graphic card, and everything, etc. So sometimes if you are having less memory and you want to work with these wearable antennas, so most of the people will try to go with the layered phantoms. They will take 4 layers, skin for 2 mm, and then fat some 5 mm to 10 mm. Then again muscle, they will take some 10 mm, bone, they will take some 10 mm. So they will take 4 layers. So for each of this layer, again, you have to give the dielectric constant. Same process. So go here. So same process. You have to select. Go here, edit. So for skin, you have to give skin here, and you add the skin dielectric permittivity at, suppose you are working at 2.45, give the 2.45 dielectric constant of skin here, and bulk conductivity here, and then loss tangent here, and validate material respectively. Similarly, you follow it for fat, muscle, bone. So, but where exactly you take this dielectric constant values of this human tissues? So normally I always follow, you can take from the articles that are already published, and you can cite them. And mostly I know if you are working at different frequency and that frequency is not published in anywhere, and you are the first one to try it and you want to know the dielectric values there, I mean human tissue values there, then I will suggest to go for this one. So here so I usually go with this one. So dielectric properties. So this is the website. So all tissues are single frequency. You can press. So here you can select the tissue. You can select the tissue, skin, fat, anything you can select. So skin wet I am trying. So you give the frequency so 2.4 megahertz and press go, and you will get the conductivity value, relative current value, loss tangent value. I enter the same here and validate it and press OK, and your skin value will come. So this is what how you give the skin value or phantom value or some for any different materials or any other tissue you want to work with. So this is how you give the dielectric value. So what frequency you are working, you will be already aware. So based on that particular frequency value, at that particular frequency, what is your decay of your material and as well as the tissues you have to give here. So now I will show you the source settings also here itself. Before that, let me show you how you can actually put the antenna on top of this conformal substrate. So let me change the radius a little bit here, 50. So this is my radius. Okay. Now I am taking a patch. Suppose this is my patch. I am trying my patch. So for my patch, I am going to give minus 10 mm, comma. Suppose just I am taking some random value, minus 10, comma, some 60. This is 20 and 20. Yes. Okay. Now you for it to wrap on top of it, you have to select your substrate first and then select your patch and go for sheets here. Wrap sheet. So wrap sheet for visible purpose, just change its color. So this is how you wrap your antenna on top of your substrate. Suppose if you are having a ground, then put the ground below it. So I have given the Z value 60. You give the value below that. So I'm just coming back to it. So now I'm giving just some 20 or something. So now you select it and select again, go for sheet, wrap sheet. So it will come down. But here Z you have to adjust so that you have to put exactly your ground. So based on the length you have to put and it will wrap exactly here. So if you want to put on top, you have to make sure your patch is on top. If you want to put on bottom, make sure your patch is on top. So based on your own preferences, you have to put. So whether you are wrapping on top side, whether you are wrapping on bottom side, that you have to aware. Based on that, you have to give. But here one of the main problem majority of the researchers will face is now you will have a different kind of conductive material that you want to give. So most of the people will select it directly and give boundary condition perfectly so that it will act as a conductor. So simply that's a simple way everybody will follow. Suppose if somebody wants to give a thickness and they wants to give suppose some copper coating or they want to give some silver coating or and place it inside the capsule or somewhere. So they want to get a wearable antenna, but they want to coat it with silver nanoparticles. So they want to coat with 30 micrometer thickness or some 20 micrometer thickness. So for that cases, you can simply after wrapping, simply select your patch, right click. Okay, right click again. You go to thickness sheet. So here again thickness 30 micrometer. If I am selecting instead of mm, you select press OK. So automatically it will come. See, automatically it is assigned into vacuum because it has just become a thickness. So that particular copper foil has become solid. Instead of a sheet, it become a solid. Initially, it will be always the vacuum. You select again and go to edit material and do your silver nanoparticle conductivity and all. It will work. Now, another thing. Suppose if somebody is working with endoscopy antenna or implant antenna, so in order to miniaturize shift the resonance to lower resonance, the frequency to lower resonance, because the antenna will be very small. So majorly we follow giving bias and using the high dielectric constant substrate as well as superstrate. So on top of our patch antenna, we usually put another substrate, so that we call it as a superstrate. So on top of it, we will put one more substrate. So second layer will be there. Now in such cases, what will happen is this particular patch will intersect with the superstrate. This particular patch will intersect with the superstrate. In such cases, what you have to do is just copy paste the same thing. Whatever the superstrate material you gave, and you give that same material here. Suppose you are having it is a PDMS, put the PDMS. Then from top that superstrate, you deduct this newly created patch part. Then the intersection error will go away. So this is the particular error everybody will face. So you just have to, whatever the intersecting portion, patch portion is there, that intersection portion you have to remove it from the superstrate so that it will work fine. Now a flexible antenna, you are working for medical applications. You either bend your antenna in XY direction, you bend in YZ direction. So X direction or Y direction, two direction one can bend. So in such cases, suppose I have my strip line here, I can give my feed. I bended in this orientation and I gave my strip line here, and here I am giving my port. Similarly, somebody wants to bend in Y direction and their strip line is here, and they want to give port here. So this port assignment is another problem majority of the people will face. So let us see how you can give the port here. So in case of this particular X bending, so your port is here. Front view I am pressing Control D. So here the entire model, whatever we have done for 3D, this is 3D substrate preparation. The same 3D preparation I have to do for particular port calculation in a 2D way. If you follow, instead of cylinder, I will be taking a circle. Same process, everything is same process. So what you are having is in single dimension. Whatever calculations and equations that I have used for making the cylinder, the same one only I am doing again in a 2D manner. Instead of taking solids, I am taking sheets. Same thing again, repeat. Take the first cylinder, first circle, and then the second circle. Subtract, you will get the ring, and then you remove the box part, half rectangular part, and then you remove that side and this side, and you will get the exact one. So this is how the port calculations are made, and this can be given here. In a similar way, this one is quite easy. Because you need to know this coordinate and this coordinate and give a polyline. So in this case, what I normally do is I will go to right view. I have to take lines. So one line, second line, third line, fourth line, and I'm mixing the line. Now I need to give this coordinate and then this coordinate. Similarly for bottom coordinate and bottom coordinate. What are exactly these coordinates? Come to front view. Isn't it nothing but x dash y dash in our equation? It is nothing but y double dash x double dash. Same equations only you will be giving here. And you can see right side I am going again. You can see our port. See, nothing but just because I want to give different notation, I have given instead of double dash, I gave 2. So y2 is nothing but double dash. So top is double dash. Similarly, you go for bottom line. Okay, single one, okay, dash. So y1 z1, y2 z2, same equations that we have calculated. You just give them and give the coordinates here directly. It will take and adjust as well. Now the one particular problem you may face here while giving the excitation is when you are giving the excitation, lumped port and try to draw line here, new line. So it won't take the line. Because why? Because this is actually slant condition. This is actually slant. That port is actually slant. It is bended as per your bending radius. That particular port is automatically, it will automatically bend. Suppose I will show you. So I'm going to change the bending radius. We change the radius, some value, anything, sorry, 50. So 50, Control D. See, it's changed. Again, automatically the port is also adjusting. Your entire patch also will adjust. Everything will adjust. So in this case, how you can actually give here is you select the bottom line. Instead of Y1, you give 2. See, now instead of slant, it is just perpendicular. So make it perpendicular, and then you can give your feed easily. Make it perpendicular and select that particular polyline. Now you can easily give SN boundary, SN excitation, lumped port, next, length. So you can able to give it. After you are giving this excitation, just again change this Y2 to Y1, and then it will adjust automatically. So again, you can see from front view. So it is adjusted. So this is one problem that you will be facing. So X bend port, Y bend port, that is simple. So that ports also, so X bend port you can easily give, but Y bend port, so that is the problem you will face, because the port line is actually slant. So make it straight, give the excitation, and then again change the coordinate, it will adjust. So these are the things that you need, making a perfect bending and wrapping the antenna patch or ground and giving a port and all. So and I also showed you how to give your substrate values, new materials or skin value or any other tissue value. So here itself I will show you how you can actually give SAR settings also. Then I will go to further analysis. So just I will take a male R, place component, press OK. This has come here, I want to put it here. Now you just take assign, edit, arrange, rotate. First I will rotate 90 degrees. So it is rotated. Again edit, arrange, rotate. So I rotated again. Now I want to move it here. Edit, arrange, move. So this move option, you can change it here. So Y direction, you can change some 100,000. So you have to adjust it. So you can keep on move these coordinates. You can keep on move these coordinates, and so that you can actually put your antenna on top of this particular phantom. So all you have to do is use the move coordinate option, and then give the coordinates. Keep on change the coordinate until you place it on appropriate position. So once you position it, you have to select your antenna, okay, your particular part, human body part, and go for modeler, list, create, object list. So simple one is to make proper SAR settings. You have to select your phantom model, either it is a skin, fat, muzzle, all these things, or you select a head, or you select a colon, or you can select torso part. Any phantom model you want to work with, select it, go to modeler, go to list, create, object list. Okay, then this is created into list. Now you have to go fields, SAR settings. So in the SAR settings, you will get the object list one. So the list one we have created. So this hand we have created into object list one that we are adding here. So as per FCC standards, if you are calculating from 1 gram, you put the 1 gram. If you want to calculate as per European Commission, then you put 10 grams. So this is where you will change the value, 1 gram or 10 grams, it's up to you. If you want to put both and compare the SAR value over the 1 gram volume tissue or 10 gram volume tissue, it's up to you. As per FCC standards, the minimum allowable SAR is 1.6 watts per kg over 1 gram volume tissue. And the European Commission, it is usually 2 watts per kg, but it will be measured over the volume of 10 gram volume of tissue. So whether you follow this one or that one, if you want to compare both also, it's fine. But usually you have to select your phantom, go to modeler, create list, and go and then go to field overlays, go for SAR settings, select that object list, and press OK. Then once it is done, you simulate it. After simulation, go for your phantom model, plot fields. So since it's not simulated, it will be highlighted if it's simulated. Others, then you will get the average SAR. So click on the average SAR and project OK. Your SAR will be done. So that is a simple way to take your SAR value for flexible antennas for wearable or medical applications. So these are the basic options I want to tell you. I will go further inside. Just let us come back to our PPT so that I can show you few things. Then we can go for biotelemetry and other things also. So now let us come back to our slides. So when you are working with wearable antenna, there are a couple of common things that you will be facing. One thing is when you are having an antenna, you simulated it in a flat condition, but you are bending it, the antenna may not have the same reflection coefficient. It may shift. That is one point that you have to adjust. Another thing is, suppose I will take an example. This is one of my published paper in YD. So I will show you. This is with metamaterial backside and without metamaterial backside. Let me show you results. So I have taken flat condition with metamaterial and without metamaterial. I have bended in X direction as well as Y direction. So both direction. See, in a flat condition, it is exactly at 2.45, but when I bend it, it is shifting. Whether it is with metamaterial, without metamaterial, in both cases it is bending. The result is shifting too much. Just to show you the effect, I am showing you this. Then I will show you how we mitigate it out. Now, effects of human body. Not only bending, the human body presence also will affect our overall radiation efficiency, our overall performance of S11 and impedance matching will change. Because the dielectric constant of our human body is usually very higher. So because of that, the overall pattern will change, efficiency will change because some of the radiation energy is being absorbed by our human body. So due to high dielectric properties of our human body, the impedance matching of the antenna will get affected. So these are the reasons your results will shift. So this is the common effects anybody will face when working with flexible antenna for wearables. One is bending, and the one is on-body effect. So you have to design an antenna that can sustain both bending effects and as well as the body loading effects and can still operate at the same frequency. That should be your primary criteria when working with the conformal and flexible antennas for wearable technology. So same thing, I have given hand, I have observed the SAR values at a different bending radius and different distances also. Now another thing, I usually, for conformal antennas for wearable technology that we used to take is how the patterns will change, how the coupling of antenna signal strength will change when we are putting the antenna on a actual human phantom. So either it be chest or leg or hand, with respect to the overall human presence, how the pattern will change. That we are present. This I have taken in NC7. So with respect to chest part, with respect to leg presence, with respect to hand. So this based on the different positions on human body, this is how the radiation pattern is reconfiguring based on the presence of our human body that we calculated in 7. So this is the phantom model. This is the antenna model that we have designed. So this is the copper foil that we have used it with 0.03 micrometer. So you can get the copper foil, high grade copper foils, through any online media, we can get 0.03 thickness or 0.05 thickness also fine. And in order to cut based on our exact dimensions, we usually go for EDM tool cutting, ultramachine discharge cutting. This is usually mechanical people will use. So you have to give your CAD model to them. Then they will make your copper file into 20 stacks or 30 stacks and place them in between two iron plates. And they will give the DXF file and it will cut as per your DXF file. And you can take them and attach to your polymer. I have taken polydimethyl silicon transparent polymer and I attached that with binding. So, so you can make use of any binders, glues you can use. So we made that and we measured and simulated and we presented in Wiley. Now, previous antenna have shown you how the bending causes a change in reflection coefficient and how the human body presence causes a change in reflection coefficient. Now, let's see, I have used it in this design. 3 metametrial units backside of my antenna. So I have taken only single layer, backside metametrial units are there. Now see, in flat condition and bended condition, the impedance matching is a little bit reduced in the flat condition, but the frequency operation is still at 2.45. As well as bending radius, different bending radius also, the frequency operation maintains at 2.45. Similarly, on body also, flat condition, both flat condition and bended condition, the frequency of operation maintains in the same place. You make use of slots, you make use of metametrial units, you make use of another layer backside of it. So somehow you have to mitigate or suppress that shift in the operating frequency so that your antenna can work both in off-body condition and as well as on-body condition and the same intended frequency of application. That is what you need to know for the wearable antenna. Now, as I said, biotelemetry means you are having 2 antennas. One antenna is monitoring the vitals and another antenna is receiving that information. So suppose my antenna is here transmitting, my antenna here is receiving. So this I have calculated in ANSYS 7 where you are having a analysis called RX to TX, TX to RX coupling. TX to RX coupling in ANSYS 7. So the coupling analysis you have to highlight and you have to set this antenna as transmitter and this antenna as receiver. So the coupled energy in powers for what over the frequency range is given here at 2.45 where our operating frequency it will be maximum. The coupled energy is maximum. So this is to know how much distance it can transmit the signal and the receiver is able to receive it with effectively. That is what we are measuring. This is what communication link strength people used to say for wireless endoscope system or implant systems, okay, IMD systems. So this is TX to RX coupling also one we have to aware. So we have done in ANSYS 7, we have done normally also. So based on distance, based on frequency also we have done in for our works. So similar way you can also progress and see, set one of your antennas transmitter and set another antenna as receiver and see the receiver signal strength and so that you can establish its communication signal strength and its how much distance it can actually transmit the monitored data. So that is one thing. So this particular part I will show you further. So let's just now I'm just showing that. So how the transmitting antenna is transmitting signal and receiving, how to check the signal strength between them. So this analysis also you can provide in your paper or patent so that that will further prove the capacity of your antenna that it is able to work up to this particular distance with this much of received signal strength. So that's the thing that you want to prove in the end, that your antenna is capable of working. So this is all about wearable antenna that is outside. Now, as we are talking about biotelemetry, we have to go for medical application. So whether it's monitoring, diagnosing, or or performing any treatment. So fully medical we will discuss. So in this aspect, I will just touch how to do tumor detection. Then I will directly go to endoscopy and implant because that is what I want to show primarily. So tumor part I will just go faster. So 3 points I will show you: tumor detection, endoscopy, implant, how the endoscopy antenna can transmit the received signal to outside and how we can actually verify that signal strength and all. So now tumor detection, you need to be aware of healthy tissue properties and as well as malignant, affected tissue or cancer tissue or tumor tissue. And the change in decay value is the main thing that will enable us to take the to diagnose whether the tumor is there or not. it can be done either field distribution or reference signal through RxTX transmission and take images through thermographic view of in 360 degrees. So in another way, any way you can follow up and tell whether the tumor is there or not. And beyond that, you can go how much size it is there, what place it is inside, and all further using by deploying more number of antennas in 360 degrees. So let's see. So I have taken one DRE antenna. So that DRE antenna, how I exactly tuned to 2.45. So here, skin, fat, muscle, bone tissues for healthy tissue values that I have taken from the same website that I have showed you a few minutes back. So here, I have taken the skin layered and hand and breast models also, just to prove that it is the SAR values are as per the standards. So the SAR values are all with 100 milliwatts input power. The SAR value is below 1.6. So for all cases, then I have taken a tumor. This is the tumor dielectric tissues. Okay, cancer tissue. It will be very high. So high dielectric tissue and the conductivity also will be high. So tumor tissue is inside. So normal condition, tumor condition. E field will be changing. E field will be changing. So the E field will be changing drastically. So similarly, current distribution also will change, and the distribution in the place also will change. There is a change in distribution also. You can observe. So we can see that. You can see that in a Zoom version. So the field without the tumor, the field with the tumor. So that is one thing. Another thing is you can put two antennas and take one as a transmitted antenna, one as a receiver antenna. When healthy tissue, when it is passing through healthy tissue, the received signal will be different. If it is passing through malignant tissue, the received signal will be different. The difference between the received signal in healthy tissue condition and the difference between when the malignant tissue is present, that different signal can be the fundamental aspect in detecting whether the tissue is having any malignant tissue inside or not. In a similar way, you can take 6 antennas or 8 antennas around the breast phantom, and you can take the images and reconstruct them and point out whether the tumor is present and where it is, and you further optimize the images also. This is a simple way you can go for tumor detection. So you can actually create this particular one in a flexible manner also, skin phantom or skin fat muscle board. You can use the same single layer design, you duplicate it and put the 4 layers, or otherwise you can individually make use of the same equations, change the variable names and create 4 layers in a flexible manner, and you can do the same thing, and you can present for SAR analysis in a flexible conditions. So that's the one thing I want to show. Now for implant and endoscopy, I will show you. So I will show you the results part. Then I will show you how exactly you can take the capsule model and put these things inside the software also. Now probably another 10 minutes I will just try to show you entire things and then directly show you in the software how I was doing in this works. So normally implant, if it is in skin implant, are like non-deep, like it is not too deep inside your tissue. It is just under your skin. Most of the capsule model will follow this kind of straight pattern where the antenna is placed here, your battery clip and your circuitry are placed there. Entire thing is placed in a flat model. But if your implant is too deep inside your body, maximum you will go for this kind of capsule model where the antenna will be placed at one side opposite to battery. One side battery you will keep, one side antenna will keep. In between them you will keep the remaining circuitry like sensory packs, electronic packs, other PCB board, everything. So this is like either you follow capsule model for a deep tissue implant, you follow this flat model for skin implants. So this implants you can use for monitoring purpose, like you can use for heart monitoring, you can use neuro monitoring, you can use for some other vital monitoring. So regularly this implant can be placed inside your body permanently, and it can be it can be compatible with your phone via mobile app, where it can repeatedly monitor your vitals and send to your app. And if there is any abnormality in your activity, via mobile it can be giving intimation to your personal doctor or your family member so that they can take care of you right away. So these implants, they come with very small size. So the particular implant design when you are doing, the size matters. You cannot put a too much big device inside a human body for a long time because he will definitely feel it. So we have to make sure the implant size is as less as possible. Directly, I will go to the point. So you can implant it any portion of these parts. So implant antennas, the main thing you want to go for is compact in size. Operating bandwidth needs to be enough. Sufficient radiation efficiency should be there. More importantly, patient safety should be there. Because this medical device should have a outer side super hydrophobic so that it will not react with the human phantom liquids inside your body, human liquids, so that it will not release any harmful chemicals inside your body. That is the primary thing. And its size should be as less as possible so that it will be very convenient for the patient. So now, so the implant is inside your body, it want to communicate with the outside patch antenna. This is the uplink downlink information that we will take for link margin analysis, which I will show you in the last slide. So miniaturization is the main factor in designing with implantable antenna or endoscopy antenna. So how exactly you go for miniaturization is, mostly you go for high dielectric substrate around 10. So Rogers 6010 is one of the most commonly used with thickness of 0.25 mm. It is one of the most commonly used high dielectric material for implantable antennas or endoscopy antennas. So I have used 6010, I have used polymer with high dielectric constant also. You take the structure here, the structure should be very either PFA model like a monopole models, or you can go for loop models. You can go for metamaterial model, resonator model, where you have the high establishment of miniaturizing your overall size. So the compactness of antenna matters so that it will occupy less space inside your overall capsule or implantable device, so that it will leave the space for remaining circuitry and all. So that is the reason. So you have to make sure that your antenna is having a loop model or some metamaterial based model where the current path is increased so that the miniaturization is achievable. So impedance matching is must in this condition, because this particular antenna will not be analyzed under free space condition, because this antenna will be placed inside skin or fat, muscle, or stomach or colon. So based on wherever the tissue it will be residing, that tissue properties has to be taken. Under that tissue only this particular antenna needs to be analyzed. So the antenna itself will be placed inside a skin box and analyzed for S11. So you cannot analyze it under free space condition. That is another thing. So the high dielectric nature of our human phantoms that we are taking, either skin, colon, stomach, or any other part of it, and as well as the high dielectric constant, sometimes using the wires also, pin shorting wires, as well as use techniques that will improve your current path. So all these things together are the techniques that you can opt to miniaturize your antenna and get a compact sized antenna for endoscopy and implantable antennas. So input power, as per mostly WBand standards, the input power will be very less. So for endoscopy applications and implant application, normally will be giving only 25 microwatts only. So if you are able to prove that you at 1 milliwatts or 10 milliwatts your SAR is less, automatically it is too good for endoscopy application or implant application, because normally we will only require 25 microwatts. If you want to improve the communication signal strength, so based on the maximum input power that you can give, you can improve. Suppose the maximum input power you can give is 2.1 milliwatts. So up to 2.1 milliwatts, 1 milliwatts you can give, and you can get the communications link power improved. So safety measurements are you have to take care when you are working with implant antennas or endoscopy antennas. So as I said, SAR, this European Commission or FCC we will follow. So mostly materials I am using are super hydrophobic. As I said, super hydrophobic means it will not react with liquid atoms. So if it is super hydrophobic, the outer area is super hydrophobic, like alumina, silica based components Al2O3 are used as outer capsules so that they will not react with the human body. So it's a compatible model, so it will not harm your harm patient even if they are staying for longer time inside our body. So I will directly these are the things I already explained while I am explaining. So biocompatible model, superstate and superstate you will use, pin wires you can use. So all this particular entire antenna will be placed inside tissue part, and then analysis will be taken. So some people will take the permission, ethical permission of to work on animals. Otherwise, you can take chicken breast for skin implants, and you can take pork internals for endoscopy applications, or you can make your own saline-based dielectric solutions which will mimic skin or any other colon or any other stomach or any other tissue. You can make the liquids also, and you can use them for measurements also. So let me show you a few results. Now I am taking a small scale antenna. I placed it inside skin, I placed it inside phantom, I placed it inside muzzle. So here for this particular antenna, we are analyzing its S11. When it is under skin, this is the value. When it is under the skin, it is the value. When it is under the fat, it is the value. When it is under the muzzle, it is the value. So the position, based on the position, you have to again retune your antenna based on that tissue. So that particular dimensions only you can give and fabricate your antenna. So you need to know if you want to work with skin, fat, muzzle. So the tissue dielectric properties matters. If you simulate antenna for skin and try to implant in muzzle, it won't work. So if you take muzzle, so you must take the muzzle tissue and analyze your antenna, tune its parameters so that you will work exactly at the frequency that you want to work. So for all conditions, differently I have shown you SAR analysis. So when you implant it in head model, this is the blue color one is the actual incident in skin phantom. The red color one is based on the entire human body presence. So you can see the fluctuations because of the entire human body presence. So this also you can show and present in your articles. This I have taken in ANSYS 7. So implantable applications having different applications like health monitoring, medical diagnosis, neurosimulation, pacemakers, defibrillators. Several applications are there for implantable device. Let me show you endoscopy also and to show you in the software how you can make up these designs. So endoscopy. So here most of the simulations that I have used, I have taken with circuit and entire endoscopy system I have taken. And this particular endoscopy miniaturization, I have obtained very less, just 5 mm by 7 mm antennas I have done. So this is the first original antenna I have done and published. It is without circuit. So the implantable antenna, just like the substrate model that I have shown you, bending model I have used, capsule I have taken, antenna I overlapped into top patch and bottom ground I overlapped it, and I have taken the analysis. Bending, various tilting. If our antenna is not shouldered properly, then the effect are presented. So similarly, it's radiation pattern inside the human tissue, stomach tissue. Inside the stomach tissue, SAR values at 10 milliwatts, and based on the presence of entire human body radiation patterns. So fabricated antenna and its analysis under pork, minced pork, direct analysis. So that I have presented and published. Now let me show you the further what we are doing, and so that you can also do in the similar way and go for bigger papers. Now antenna, I am not highlighting the antenna here because it is in revision process, so I didn't show you the antenna model. So here, see, you can see I have taken the capsule model. This is the battery holder, battery, and the PCB board, circuitries and electronic package that we require, optical dome and camera part, and the cap part. This is the antenna part. This entire capsule in front view, side view I have shown you here, and that I have placed inside the stomach tissue. This is the tissue with 50 mm by 50 size I have taken, and I started analyzing. So when I tuned the antenna to exactly 3.6, the effective S11 value and its 2D gain and 3D gain, as well as E field distribution overall in the capsule, I have shown here. Now for the same thing, see, for the maximum input power I can give in this case is 2.1 milliwatts. Up to 2.1 milliwatts, it is maintained in the SAR value below 1.6. If I go above that, the SAR value is it will cross the 1.6. So that means up to 2.1 milliwatts I can give the input power. So but the prescribed power, minimum power is 25 microwatts only. So that means my antenna is having enough capability to maintain the SAR below the prescribed value. So now, as you can see in the previous paper, when it is tilting, our antenna reflection coefficient actually changing. Antenna reflection coefficient actually changing. But in this particular new paper, what we were able to do is, whether it is tilting, even we are fabricating we may not be able to adjust the shoulder the antenna exactly in a center way. It may tilt a little bit that side or this side. Anyway, any other side it may tilt a little bit. So we have checked that. So this is maintaining the same reflection coefficient, but the impedance matching when the antenna is tilting this side is a little bit lesser compared to the remaining orientation. That means when the antenna is tilting towards the circuitry, the impedance matching is going, it's a degrading little bit. That is one thing. So make sure, I have to make sure when I'm shouldering it, I have to make sure that it is not tilting towards the circuitry board so that I can avoid this impedance mismatching. So similar model, you can see in the air with no circuit, with no stomach tissue presented and no circuit presented, as well as circuit presented and no circuit present. If you can see these two values under stomach, no circuit condition and circuit condition, there is a deviation. So some people are detuning that and also presenting detuning of the implant antennas or endoscopic antennas, and they are presenting that. And when you are having a endoscopy antenna, when you swallow it, it will go through gastronomical tract, so GI tract, and it will pass through stomach, colon, small intestine. While it is passing through, the camera will take take the information of inside organs and it will transmit to the outside antenna. That is what happens, and that is how you collect information of your GI tract and transmit that data to the outer antenna. So that means this is one type of biotelemetry application where the vitals, I mean the inside details, stomach details are taken and transmitted to outside antenna. So in that case, we have to check the antenna's robustness when it is passing through different organs inside your GI tract. The main organs will be stomach, colon, and small intestine. You have to make sure that your antenna is having minimum impedance matching. So you can see it's below minus 20 dB for a small intestine. And in all cases, the impedance matching is maintained enough so that the communication can be established easily. So the robustness of antenna can be verified in this manner. So another thing is the box value you have to be aware of. So if you are keeping too much smaller sizes, the values you are taking may not be proper. You have to keep on changing your tissue and see where exactly you are getting overall the same values. So based on that, you can take you can fix your phantom size and you can start simulating, so that if you put in overall phantom, full phantom also, there will be much difference in your analysis. So now, as I said, this is I have done for one of my implantable antenna. You can see when no circuit is there, with circuit there is a deviation in the reflection coefficient. So I have placed it, detuning, how you place is, you have an antenna, behind this antenna, just we place a mathematical concept, like that you can opt one more layer here. So with that layer effect, you can make sure that your antenna is operating at the same frequency, even the circuit is there or circuit is not there. Why we are performing this is, if we are able to detune that value, even if your antenna is tilted any watts while shouldering, that frequency will be working in the same application, same operation band will be maintained. That will prove that your antenna is more robust to this kind of detuning effects because of the presence of other circuitry elements or other tissue elements. So that is another thing you can add to your biotelemetry application for endoscopy or implant. So as I said, now my capsule antenna is inside stomach. I have kept some distance, 100 meter or 1 meter or 2 meter, 3 meter or 5 meter. This is my patch antenna. See, whatever the frequency operation you are using, use the similar frequency for this patch antenna also. Maintain some. See, I use it for 3.3, so I simulated a patch also for 3.3. Now I calculate S12 over different distances. This is the comparison. Obviously, if the distance is lesser, the coupling will be better. So when the distance is increasing, the coupling will degrade. This is the analysis that we are doing. So similar way, you do for stomach, colon, and small intestine. For 5 points I used at 3.3 gigahertz. For 1 meter, what is the value in stomach? What is the value in colon or small intestine? Similarly, for 200 meter mm, 300 mm, 400 mm, 500 mm. That values I have taken and projected how the coupling strength is there between the transmitting antenna and receiving antenna in various tissues I presented. this will show if the link is very less, then automatically the information is lost. So if you are having this analysis, then you will know if your receiver signal strength is enough or not. If you know that it is not enough, then you go for improving your antenna performance further, or you improve input power little bit further until the SAR is maintained. You can go for 2 milliwatts. So I mean the SAR should be maintained up to 2 milliwatts. Then if this value go above minus 70 dB, minus 60 dB, then you can compare them. Then you will know, so okay, I can give up to this power, then the received signal strength will be good enough for reception. So that's the thing you will know based on this communication link strength analysis. So similarly, use the budget analysis. See here, this is nothing but what you are actually transmitting. This is what you are actually requiring. This is the minimum value. So the difference between them should be positive so that the communication link can be established. This is what you are actually transmitting via endoscopy or implant. This is what you actually require in the receiver side so that it can be detected. So the difference should be positive. So the difference should be positive so that your link can be established. So link margin analysis, you can take this value. So for my transmitting antenna, receiver antenna again I have given for my patcher antenna. Transfer antenna again is stomach, colon, smallest eye here. So I use this equation. So I have taken the margin analysis. It is positive and maintaining the communication. So similar way we are working medical sensors also, where the sensor will detect and the information will be transmitted with some other equipments. So I will just show you, this is the end of theoretical presentation. I will just show you how for the implant how we are actually making it. So let's take the same antenna. So you just have to make a cylinder same way. Make sure it is at center. So 0, 0, 0, and take the y direction to some -5 to +5, and radius some 4.5 mm or 9 mm, and height some 10 mm. So this is your small capsule. This is your small capsule. So similarly, you go for Control C, Control V, and you go for it. So reduce the increase the radius by another 2 mm because outer one won't be much thickness. Okay, and Control C, Control V, and subtract. Yes. Okay. Now you have your center part. How you exactly get the top part and bottom part? Just take the spheres. Take the spheres. 0, 0, -5. Radius is 4.7. Okay. See, you got the bottom part. And similarly, Control C, Control V. We give the 4.5 part. That's okay. So this is the small one. This is the bigger one. Select them, subtract, and press OK. Now here the sphere still have a little bit upper part that you have to detect. So in such case, you have to take the box again. So you just take box and take the box dimensions again, like minus 4.7, minus 4.7, minus 5. This is nothing but 9.4. This is also 9.4. This is above, you want to go 4.7. Yes. Okay. So now you just select your sphere first, and then select the box and the subtract. Yes. Okay. Now you can see only this particular part only left. So you have already this part also. You unite them both. Now you have a capsule bottom part. Capsule bottom part. Now you put this particular antenna size. So you put this as less size as possible. Just SX is 5 mm and this one is 5 mm. That's okay. So this particular one, and you go for front view. So here, what you have to do is you have to move it, edit, arrange, move. So put it here. So again, you go for move option and adjust your coordinates so that it is exactly pasted inside the cap. Similarly, replicate the another one here and put it inside cap. Similar way, you put the circuit, apply battery value, dielectric value, and for electronic parts, you can go for perfect E value, and you put all these things. And instead of once this all is over, you put your capsule inside your box again. Take a bigger box. Take this one size into 50 mm, 50 mm, 50 mm size, and for this box you apply dielectric properties as you go for dielectric properties, add material and give stomach value, column value, or anything based on endoscopy and analyze it. So you put that particular stomach value into again modeler object list. Okay, you go for list object list and go for SAR settings and put that stomach or column into SAR setting and evaluate it. This is the simple way that you can go and get your endoscopy model or implant model. The simple steps, only just create the cylinders and the cap and put your antenna, you put your antenna, flexible antenna, and you wrap it and move it. So in this one, I will suggest one thing, whatever you are trying to make your design, make sure that it is equivalent in all directions. Make sure the center is center for all your design so that it will be easily rotated or moved for your convenience. If you are designing your antenna in this part, or only some people are comfortable with only positive side, so they will design here. But in that case, orientation and moving will be a little bit difficult. So make sure that you are doing your antenna design in the same manner so that you can apply moving and orientation very easily. And another thing that I will suggest is, suppose I will remove this one. Suppose this is the capsule is there. So in our case, we are trying to make a small size antenna where it can be easily fitted into cap itself. But majority of the people, what they are doing is, they inside this particular capsule, they are trying to wrap the antenna. So that if they are wrapping, that means all this area can be used for the antenna, and the current path, overall current path, if they are using the loop model, overall current path can be increased for that. The miniaturization shifting the antennas operating frequency to lower operating frequency will be much easier, because in medical antennas, especially in implant endoscopy, you will try to work with lower frequency so that the propagation path loss will be less. Because higher the frequency, the propagation path loss will be more because of the presence of the high dielectric constant human tissues. So if you want to work with lower frequency, obviously in our case the antenna size will be higher. So, but for implant and endoscopy applications, the main purpose of designing is to reduce the antenna size. So you have to make the loop models and all to increase the current path overall to get the miniaturization possible. So you can actually wrap inside the cylinder also. How I suggest is, now I have detected the cap part, right? Similar way. So once you make your cylinder, you cut half part of the cylinder. You cut half part of the cylinder. You take this half part, make your antenna and wrap it inside. And you again replace whatever you cut again, and you can have a design where the antenna is wrapped inside the circuit, and try to apply the excitation, put the circuitry part and follow the same. So, but make sure that when you are going for it, make sure that you are presenting different kinds of analysis effects also. So whether dimensions effects, parametric study you add, and you add the SAR analysis, you add different tilting and how it may affect, and overall how you improve the robustness of your antenna, and how the reflection coefficient is when traveling through different organs, and you can present it. You can get its gain or efficiency value under different sizes of the tissues, and you can go for detuning so that you have improved the robustness of your implantable antenna, and you get your antenna transmit to the outside. Whether you use the solvent model or general as HFSL is fine. If you are using the solvent, directly go to transmit a TX to RX coupling analysis, and you can get the value directly TX, the power in dB versus distance you will get versus frequency also you can take. So you can establish the communication link and check whether your antenna is transmitting enough. If it is not, try to improve the performance of your antenna further. So you establish everything, and as well as actual required power at the receiving side, So what it is actually transmitting, you will get based on the analysis you are done. You will know your power transmitting gain and everything. You substitute it here, then you will know the link margin value also. so that you can establish where our antenna is working and it is maintaining the signal power up to some distance. So overall, what you are doing in the end is you are making a flexible antenna. It can be bended and put inside the capsules very easily. Whether the center part of the capsule or edge part of the cap, you can mold it and put it easily. And as well as you are taking care of the other circuitry element or tissue elements effects on the impedance matching and the overall performance of the antenna, and you try to improve it if its use improves, and you establish the communication link and present it overall that it is monitoring and transmitting the information that it is collected. That is overall you are proving your flexible antenna that you designed is working and transmitting the information that it is monitored. Simple. That you present for implantable antenna or endoscopy antenna or outside antenna, you establish that and you present it properly. You can go for patenting on paper very easily. So you can go for IEEE APS, IEEE AWPL, go for IEEE BioCast, Biomedical Circuits and Systems. You can go for Teller and Francis Ultramagnetics and Biology. You can go for Teller and Francis Ultramagnetics also. You can go for Wiley MOTL, Wiley Material and Computer Engineering. You can go, and in elsewhere some journals like AU is accepting these articles. Computers in Biology is accepting endoscopy and implantable biomedical antennas. And as well as in ambient intelligence and humanoid computing, another journal in Springer, it is also accepting. Well as personal communication, you can go. So these are the different kind of journals that are there that are accepting biomedical antennas. You can you can go for these inferences and present, and I think you can get good papers and the patents also possible. That will be the end of it. So if you are having any doubts, you can contact me via this mail ID. Hello, sir. Hello.
Sanji, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, dear participants, if you have any questions, then you can unmute yourself and you can ask.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me, ma'am.
Sir, just now you have shown one capsule-based wearable antenna.
Yeah, capsule. Yeah.
You designed in
Yes,
HFS,
yes.
sir. But results, how that graphs are displayed, sir? How the graphs
This what?
obtained?
This what?
No, sir. Recently, last slide.
Last
You
slide.
have shown. You have.
This what?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, this ones you have to take individual values and take the graphs in Excel, or you can actually take these values and put it in HS again and project them. These are individual values. I taken by distances and took the values in individual tissue and projected again. So these are automatically taken in HFSS. Last two ones are values are computed and presented as a graphs.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Can you show us the slide of the dielectric and thermal properties which you have taken? Actually, I'm working with CST.
Okay, sir.
And for the design of breast modeling and tumors, I generally used to prefer the database of ITIS Sweden Foundation.
Yeah. You can prefer, sir. Actually, for if you are working in tumor detection, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if you are working in tumor.
No, sir. I'm working on hyperthermia.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thermia, you are okay.
Microstrip antennas development for the application of breast hyperthermia.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Actually, sir, this tissue well is not. I am taking from the same website. If you want to go for any malignant tissues, and if you want to establish that your hyperthermia is constituting exactly that tissue part, so first the diagnosis is important, sir. So that you should start from malignant tissues. You go for IOP sciences papers are there, sir. So they are like breast cancer, colon cancer, and thyroid cancer. Over 18 gigahertz they presented in their articles in IOP sciences. So you can collect the tissue properties from there, and as well as this database, you can go for healthy tissues from C. Gabriel dielectric tissues. So website will come. In that website you can enter your frequency and get healthy tissues for almost all tissues of human body.
Yes, sir. I have gone through some of the articles of C. Gabriel.
Okay.
More than 5 transaction papers.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I have gone through them. But ITIS is providing us the facility that we can select the dielectric and thermal properties according to our requirement of the frequency. So I
Yeah,
am
this one also said
familiar
this,
with that actually.
yeah,
But I
this
get
one also.
good information from your session.
Thank you,
Definitely, I will work on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.
Yes. Any other query from any of the participants, please? Dear participants, is there any query from any of participants? Dear sir,
Yes, sir.
can you kindly share the PPT so that I can further share with the participants?
In this one, around some 15 results are in revision, sir, which I cannot give as of now. Remaining all, I will forward you.
Yeah, so the part which you can share, kindly
Yeah,
send
sure.
me through mail. Yeah.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
sir, I would like to thank you very much for delivering this very interesting and informative session. So, as
Thank you, sir.
always, you have shown many new concepts which are very important for the researchers when they are simulating the things or when they are fabricating the antennas. So, thank you so much. So I'm sure that in future also you will accept our invitation to be the part of our STCs.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, dear participants, with
I'm
this now, yes, please.